What is the best decision you've made while drunk? I booked a vacation to New Orleans at 3 AM while blackout drunk. I got awesome deals on airfare and a nice hotel. Even booked it to perfectly fit into my work schedule. I have no idea how I pulled it off, but it was like getting a gift from a stranger. Dude, my last 3 vacations and skydiving trips were all planned completely hammered. The first time was so successful I almost believe I planned better. Since July I've been skydiving twice, kayaking, saw all the San Diego Zoo, got a sunburn, went camping, went fishing, visited old friends across the country and tripped mushrooms. If I plan sober I worry about money and all the legwork to plan/pull it off. I made grilled cheese at 2 AM once, but instead of using plain toast I made it with garlic bread. You can buy garlic butter to put on your bread before grilling it. It's a game changer. Make your own garlic butter by mixing the two. Save time by using garlic powder. Roast that garlic and thank me later. We had a get together at my place a couple years ago. Just me and 3 of my classmates. One of them recently broke up with his GF and was heartbroken. We got quite drunk and they left the next morning. But said classmate came back for his charger and told me that thanks to what I've said the day before, they are getting back together with GF. I was glad obviously, but to this day I have no clue what I've told him. I was very drunk. They're still together BTW. My friend and I were drunk when we decided to do a 2,000-mile motorcycle trip. We did it a few months later and had a blast. We now have a rule that if we both agree to a ridiculous trip while drinking, the agreement must be honored. I used to deliver small airplanes as a sort of side gig. The best part for me was simply being by myself, often for days, and just enjoying leisurely flights over the US. One evening several years ago, I'd had a few too many and invited my dad to join me on a 3 to 4 day trip to deliver some guy's new plane from the Northwest. Disclaimer, although I care about him, dad can be very stressful to travel with on long trips. So the next morning I was a little annoyed with myself for doing this. Due to medical issues, that turned out to be the last vacation he ever had, and we had a great time. I'd hate to have missed that week with him. On edit, thank you for the awards everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Was expecting a story about flying an airplane drunk. Ended up being quite a touching story. Would make a good movie I reckon. Call it Fly Far, Fly Farther. 9 years ago stumbling to the pita shop after the bars closed with my friends. I drunkenly ordered a falafel pita instead of my usual. Blew my mind and changed my life. Now I want falafel. I wrote get with the cookie delivery guy as my entry on the goals for spring semester list we posted on the wall in my college apartment. Then we invited the cookie delivery guy up for a party. That was almost 8 years ago. We got married last October. 2 things. 1. Good for you. Congrats. 2. Who the duck delivers cookies? Exclamation mark. Question mark. Exclamation mark. Question mark. He had a small business delivering late night cookies to drunk and high students on my college campus. So, basically, he's a genius. If you're in Philadelphia, then I know your husband is a ducking legend who has identified an underserved market and made many people happy. Not to carpool with my homie after a huge mansion party, where we all got drunk. I had done it before, but got some smart impulse not to this time. After I took an Uber and got home to sleep, I woke up from my alcohol-induced sleep and found out from his mom that he ended up flipping the car into a canyon. The roof caved. He broke his neck and ended up with what luckily turned out to be temporary paralysis. As thankful as I'm that has well and walking now, and just as functional a person as he once was, I'm glad I didn't take the car ride with him. My man QUI Gon said it best. Feel. Don't think. Use your instincts. A friend and I were very drunk, and I was talking about how I wanted to get a dog. I've had them my whole life, but never one of my own. We browsed the local shelter's website, and I found one that looked and sounded perfect. The next morning, we went to the shelter. We were both super hungover, so much so that my friend threw up in the corner of their outdoor area. I met my future dog. played with him a bit, and told them I would be back the next day to take him home. And if I'm being honest, I was in that half drunk / half hungover phase. I went back the next day and picked him up. My friends kept asking if I was rushing into it, and I just brushed them off. 7 years later, we've moved 5 times, including across the country, and has been my best friend the entire time. Has been the one constant in my life since I got him. Although I personally regret nothing. Please do not get a dog on a drunken or sober whim unless you are 100% dedicated. I support this. Dog is a huge responsibility. I took a dog because as a kid I found them really cute. Still do. He is my best friend, but I have to take breaks between my study period to take him pee, wake up early and other stuff. I love taking care of him, and I regret nothing. I even think he has brought some discipline in my sleep schedule, but sometimes it's a bit of a drag. Dog takes you for a walk, not the other way around. At the end of the night I asked out a girl from our work group who I thought I would never have a chance with. That was almost 3 years ago, and we just got married last month. Congratulations. Similar. 36 years ago, I got day drunk on mimosas with a friend and we fell into bed together. Been together ever since. Decided that maple leaves looked like little hands and proceeded to high five every tree I saw. Happiest night ever. Still high five cute leaves sometimes and give myself a good chuckle. Always wondered when I'd stop being a lurker and finally be compelled to comment. This is apparently it. Close bracket. Love it. Something so pure about this one. Hosted a massive college house party and I was extremely intoxicated and made the decision to steal my roommate's Bacardi and mix with orange juice. Definitely should have stopped at this point. I don't remember much, but I remember pouring about a shot of orange juice and filling the tall glass with rum until it became clear. I woke up the next morning next to the very large empty Bacardi bottle and feeling wonderful, however remorseful that I stole from my best friend. I profusely apologized that evening when friend finally recovered and committed to replacing said bottle, but he broke out into a uncontrollable laughter to the extent it caused him to dry heave. The bottle was destined to join our many decorative liquor bottles and had been filled with water accordingly. I never lived down my night of binge drinking Bacardi H2O. You were so drunk you didn't know that you were drinking water. Your liver must have thanked you in every language. Bought a sweet dinosaur print shirt from a dodgy Chinese vendor. Only read the reviews afterwards, and it seemed that I was most likely to receive something entirely different if I got anything at all. 2 months later what turns up? My awesome dinosaur shirt. Happy days. Bought a doormat that read doorbell broken. Yelding darn. Apostrophe. Decided to check into rehab. Good job man. I ordered tap shoes one night after not owning a pair in 15 years. Now it's my go-to activity between conference calls and sometimes during them on mute. My ankles feel stronger so that's good. You may live in a house, but I'm picturing it being the worst decision ever for someone living in the apartment below you. I bought a one-way plane ticket out of the country. The next day, after sobering up, I decided to just roll with it. I quit my job as an engineer, broke up with my significant other, and ended up a much happier person because of it. Damn. I don't think I've ever been that drunk. I was definitely at a low point in my life. Things are much better now. No pressure whatsoever. But if you're comfortable, can we get more backstory / context for this? Question mark. How old were you? Where were you? etc. lol. Sometimes I want to do just that. I was 26, living in the United States. I had been working as an engineer for a few years, and I had come to the conclusion that I absolutely hated it. To this day, I still don't know what exactly it was that was so unbearable to me about it. I was in a somewhat unhealthy relationship at the time and I just didn't really see things getting any better. I think that my drunk alter ego knew that things weren't going to improve without some drastic action, and moving my life to Argentina felt like it was about as far away from everything that was making me miserable as I could get. Hid my money from myself in Vegas. I was there for 2 nights and did pretty decent night 1. Night 2 I blacked out a little bit before bed. Next day I wake up and I'm short about $120. I was so upset thinking I must have gambled it away before going to my room. On the drive home we hit a zone where we had no signal for radio or phones. So I started looking through my photos to kill time. I find a video of myself in my room looking at the camera greeting myself with, "Hey dipshit. I know you're blacked out right now. So I'm going to save you from yourself. Here's $120 non-spending money and I put it at the bottom of your bag." Apostrophe. I pulled out my bag and sure as shit found that money. Made the hangover a little more bearable. To move back home. We moved around so much that I didn't really have a hometown, but the place I ended up graduating high school from felt more like home than anywhere. I moved out of state after high school, became severely depressed, lost my job and my dog, and had literally nothing in life left to look forward to. I drank a 5th of Jim Beam one night after having a bad depressive episode and felt more homesick than I had in my entire life. I decided then and there to move back. I got up with one of my old friends. He helped me get decent job for a 19-year-old. We ended up dating. And now we've been married for almost 14 years. Life has turned out okay. Signed up for a foreign TV commercial. I didn't have the time free, new job, or a necessary passport and the production company pushed me to sort those things regardless. Completely out of my comfort zone. When we were flown out for filming, I met the girl of my dreams and now live in that country. I never take risks. I thought I'd grow old in the village I grew up in. About 4-ish years ago I was drunk browsing a Cupid and ran across the profile of a guy I had seen many times before but thought was way out of my league. I sent him a silly message and went to bed. I had forgotten. When I woke up, got a message alert and was shocked to see it was him. We've been married for a year and a half. And in 2 weeks we are welcoming a little girl into the world. 10/10ths with drunk message that hot guy again. Woke up one Sunday morning with a serious hangover and a knock on the door. Opened it to find a pizza delivery guy standing there. Was a bit confused as I was the only one home. Asked the delivery guy who he was looking for. "I've got an order for need_path." Didn't wanna waste the guy's time by having an argument that I didn't order pizza. So just asked him how much, all paid for. Turns out drunk me ordered and paid for pizza online and requested to be delivered at 10 AM. Precisely the time I would be getting out of bed. Thanks drunk bro. That's pretty duckin' impressive. Not gonna lie. Early 2000s. Co-worker drunkenly bid on an eBay auction. Woke up the next day to a congratulatory email stating he'd made the winning bid of $100. It was an 8x10 autographed and framed photo of Mr. T. He had no regrets. This is the best one. Not me but my friend has some tech savvy friends and years ago he bought a ton of Bitcoin in a blackout when the price was around $5 each. He forgot that happened until he stumbled onto the old hard drive years later when Bitcoin was very high. He's beyond rich now. There was some tech writer who did an article on Bitcoin in the early days and he mined a bunch as part of researching it. Several years later, when the price went through the roof he remembered that he had some, but ultimately realized that the hard drive had been tossed. Somewhere in a landfill in the UK is an old bit of computer hardware worth a small fortune. Last year around this time I got blackout drunk on Irish car bombs and did all my Christmas shopping online, which at that point I had been against doing, and mostly everyone loved their gifts. The ones who weren't too impressed were the ones that received a bobblehead figurine that looked just like me. I guess I figured the best gift I could give was more of me. That's fantastic. Did you tell them you bought it while drunk? No way. I ended up buying my mom a laptop online for 300 bones, and she was so happy she pert near cried. She had been asking for a couple years, but I couldn't afford it. Still couldn't then, so I didn't want to ruin it by saying oh yeah BTW I was hammed when I bought this for you. Needless to say I'm still paying off that credit card. Totally worth it. I went out for drinks with my friend of 4 years so we could cheer ourselves up after we had both been dumped by our long-term partners. We got pretty drunk, and he kept pretending he was going to kiss me, then saying had a rhyme, just joking. I wouldn't kiss you. I decided I wasn't going to take this cheek. So the next time he done it, I grabbed him and kissed him. We've been together now for 5 years in January, and I've honestly never been so happy. Not only is he my partner, but he's my best friend and we make a fantastic team. I've never known or felt love like this. I applied for a job that I thought would never consider me. I was trashed and just thought, duck it, what's the worst that could happen? Turns out I got the job. I was at the Hard Rock Casino in Vegas with some friends one night back in 2001. I was flat broke. I accepted a second Irish car bomb from a buddy, and then the next thing I know, I wake up the following morning back in our hotel room at the Excalibur. I'm still fully clothed, including shoes. I have a small tree branch in my hair. I have somehow sprained my ankle. There is a crisp $50 bill in my shirt pocket. I have a voicemail on my mobile from Tara Lapinski, the figure skater, asking for my friend. Everyone says that I just disappeared the night before. Zero recollection to this day of what might have occurred. I started my own company, set up the LLC, ML and website all while drunk. Lasted for 5 years and billed, gross, over $1 million. Hey PSSST. Please subscribe and like.